Are you tired of feeling like you're not enough? Do you struggle with self-doubt and negative self-talk? It's time to take control of your thoughts and improve your self-value. In this video, we'll explore the ancient philosophy of Stoicism and how its teachings can help you cultivate a positive and resilient sense of self-worth. Number 1. Be mindful. In Stoic thought, mindfulness is more than just being aware of the present moment. What it means is that we need to understand that life is temporary, accept it, and use this knowledge to guide our actions and choices. They thought that everything in life is temporary, that everything changes, and that everything ends in the end. It might look like this is a negative point of view, but it's actually very freeing. Understanding that life changes over time can help us enjoy the here and now, be grateful for the people and things we have, and let go of the things we can't change. Being aware, like this, is what Stoicism is all about. Not denying or avoiding the problems and difficulties we face is not the point. Instead, we should recognize them, accept them, and learn from them. The Stoics like the practice of memento mori, which means to remember that we will die. Though it might seem morbid, this is a great way to become more aware. Reminding ourselves that we are going to die can change how we see life, make us value the present moment more, and give us a new drive to live our lives to the best. Being mindful also means being aware of our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and trying to make them fit with who we really are. The Stoics thought that everyone has a divine spark, or a piece of the cosmic logos inside them. They thought it was our job to live in harmony with this divine spark. This means staying true to ourselves, going our own way, and not letting other people tell us what to think, believe, or do. Being aware like a Stoic does not mean being selfish or focused on yourself. It's about realizing that we are all linked and that what we do affects other people. Among the Stoics was the idea of sympatheia, which means realizing that we are all connected and should act in a way that reflects this. Being mindful also means being aware of our beliefs, biases, and prejudices, and working to get rid of them. Stoics thought that our thoughts and feelings affect how we see things, and that these thoughts and feelings are often skewed by our biases, prejudices, and beliefs. Being aware of these errors can help us see the world more clearly, understand other people better, and make smarter decisions. Being mindful means being aware of our feelings and trying to take charge of them instead of having them run our lives. The Stoics thought that our feelings should not control our actions, but rather should serve us. They said that we should let our feelings guide our actions instead of letting them control them. We can learn to deal with our feelings in a better, more positive, and more moral way if we pay attention to them. Stoic mindfulness includes a number of different methods and tasks. One of these is negative visualization, which means picturing the worst thing that could happen and then seeing it in a better way. This helps us be grateful for what we have, get ready for problems that might come up, and build strength and resilience. Writing in a journal is another method. When we do this, we think about our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and try to understand ourselves better. Stoic awareness is a great way to boost our sense of self-worth. To understand and accept that life is short, to enjoy the present, to be honest with ourselves, to get rid of our biases and prejudices, to keep our feelings in check, and to act in a wise and good way. The road isn't easy, but it's worth it because it can help us find inner strength, self-worth, and real happiness. We should start this path, practice Stoic mindfulness, and make our lives better. Number 2, change the story. The Stoics thought that how we see things shapes our reality, and that the story we tell ourselves about our lives, our events, and our worth defines us. We need to change the story if we want to feel better about ourselves. We are not ignoring or denying the problems and difficulties we have met by changing the story. Instead, we are reinterpreting them in a way that makes us stronger. As the Stoics like to say, the obstacle is the way. These people thought that every problem we face is a chance to learn and get better. Our problems can become stepping stones on the way to self-value if we change the story. Realizing that we write our own lives and have the power to change our realities is what changing the story is all about. We should use this power carefully. The Stoics believed in something called prohairesis, which means being able to make choices that are logical, good, and in line with yourself. We can regain our paralysis and take charge of our lives by changing the story. Realizing that our past doesn't determine our present or future is another part of changing the story. It means realizing that we are not our mistakes and flaws, and that we have the power to grow and change. Self-improvement was important to the Stoics, and they saw it as an ongoing quest to become more good and perfect. We can start this path and become the best versions of ourselves if we change the story. Cognitive restructuring is one of these. In this practice, we question and change our negative, irrational, and self-defeating thoughts with ones that are more positive, logical, and helpful. Practicing gratitude is another method. In this method, we think about the good things in our lives and say thank you for them. Because of this, we can change how we see the world and develop a happier, more upbeat, and stronger mind. Forgiving ourselves means recognizing and accepting our mistakes and failures and letting go of the guilt, shame, and sorrow that come with them. This is a part of changing the story. Because of this, we can change how we feel about our past and break free from self-blame and self-pity. Changing the story means being kind, understanding, and respectful to ourselves, especially when things are hard or upsetting. This is called self-compassion. This helps us change how we talk to ourselves and develop an inner voice that is more positive, helpful, and caring. Visualization is the process of imagining and practicing the world we want to create and then working hard to make it happen. Changing the story is a strong way to learn how to value ourselves more through Stoicism. It teaches us to reframe our problems and difficulties, to take back our power, to see our ability to change and grow, to develop a more positive and empowering mindset, and to work toward the world we want. Number 3. Set boundaries. For the Stoics, real freedom means living in line with our true nature, which means being self-disciplined and in control of yourself. The act of setting limits is a form of self-discipline. It's about being aware of our limits, honoring them, and telling other people about them. We should be able to say no when we need to and not feel bad about it. Setting limits not only keeps our physical and mental health safe, but it also keeps our sense of self-worth safe. Setting limits doesn't mean you're selfish or only care about yourself. It's about realizing that we are all linked and that what we do affects other people. Aristotle talked about oikeiosis, which means realizing that we are all connected and should act in a way that reflects this. Setting limits is a way to recognize our oikeiosis, show respect for others and ourselves, and keep the cosmic family in balance and harmony. Knowing that we are not responsible for other people's happiness and that we shouldn't give up our own happiness and well-being for other people's is a big part of making boundaries. The Stoics believed in enchiridion, which means we should pay attention to the things we can change and let go of the things we can't. We can use the enchiridion in our relationships by setting limits. This helps us focus on our own actions and choices and let go of other people's actions and choices. Setting limits requires a number of different skills and tasks. Self-awareness is one of these. This means that we know and understand our physical, emotional, and mental boundaries and try to respect and honor them. This helps us set healthy and reasonable limits and keep us from taking on too much. Being assertive is another method. When we set limits for others, we should do so in a clear, respectful, and sure way. Self-care, or putting your physical, emotional, and mental health first, is an important part of setting limits. We do this to keep our lives in balance and harmony. This helps us keep our self-worth and keep from being worn out or tired. Forgiving someone who breaks our rules is an important part of setting limits. We need to accept that they did something wrong and try to let go of the anger, resentment, and bitterness that comes with it. This helps us get over the fact that our lines were crossed and heal, and it keeps us from giving in to our bad feelings. Self-reflection is a part of making boundaries. We think about and rethink our boundaries and try to change them as our lives change. Setting limits is a strong lesson in Stoicism that can help us feel better about our own worth. It teaches us to be aware of and respect our limits, to talk about and stick to our boundaries, to put our health first and take care of it, to accept and get better after our boundaries are broken, and to think about and change our boundaries. It's not an easy lesson, but it's one that needs to be learned in order to protect and keep our own worth and the balance and unity of the cosmic family. Number 4. Challenge negative self-talk. The Stoics felt that our thoughts create our reality and that how we think about ourselves and our worth can either make us feel better or worse. When we challenge our negative self-talk, we ask ourselves if our negative thoughts are true and helpful, and we replace them with more positive, empowering, and uplifting ones. To stop negative self-talk, we don't have to ignore or reject the problems and difficulties we face. Instead, we have to accept them, deal with them, and learn from them. The Stoics liked to do something called negative visualization, which meant picturing the worst thing that could happen, and then seeing it in a better way. We can turn our problems into steps towards self-value by questioning the negative things we say to ourselves. To stop negative self-talk, we need to understand that our thoughts are not bosses, but slaves, and we should use them to guide our actions instead of letting them tell us what to do. The Stoics believed in something called prohairesis, which means being able to make choices that are logical, good, and in line with yourself. We can regain our prohairesis and take charge of our lives by questioning the negative things we say to ourselves. There are a number of methods and exercises that can help you stop negative self-talk. Cognitive restructuring is one of these. In this practice, we question and change our negative, irrational, and self-defeating thoughts with ones that are more positive, logical, and helpful. Self-compassion is another method. This is when we treat ourselves with kindness, understanding, and respect, especially when we are having a hard time. This helps us change how we talk to ourselves and develop an inner voice that is more positive, helpful, and caring. Mindfulness is the practice of being in the present moment, being aware of your thoughts, feelings, and actions, and trying to align them with your real nature. This helps you stop talking badly to yourself. Because of this, we can change how we see the world and develop a happier, more upbeat, and stronger mind. Practicing thankfulness, in which we think about the good things in our lives and say thank you for them, can help us stop negative self-talk. Self-forgiveness is the practice of recognizing and accepting our mistakes and failures and letting go of the guilt, shame, and sorrow that come with them. It helps us stop talking badly to ourselves. Because of this, we can change how we feel about our past and break free from self-blame and self-pity. One of the most important lessons we can learn from Stoicism is how to stop talking badly to ourselves. It teaches us to question the truth and usefulness of our negative thoughts and replace them with more positive, empowering, and uplifting ones. It also teaches us to take back our power, develop a more positive, supportive, and nurturing inner voice, and break free from self-blame and self-pity. It wasn't an easy lesson, but it was a lesson that changed the way we thought about ourselves and made us value ourselves more. Number 5. Set achievable goals. The Stoics thought the point of life was to seek virtue and greatness, which meant making plans and reaching them. They also knew how important it was to keep things in balance. You should aim high when you set goals that you can reach, but not so high that you set yourself up to fail and be let down. It's about breaking down our big long-term goals into smaller ones that we can handle better. It's about being happy about our wins, no matter how small they may seem. Setting goals that you can reach is not the same as being lazy or average. Realizing that growth is a process, not a goal, and that each step, no matter how small, is a move toward our ideal situation is important. Eudaimonia was an idea that the Stoics believed in. It means that having a good life will make you happy and satisfied. We can find eudaimonia, make progress toward our ideal world, and be happy and fulfilled on the way by setting goals that we can actually reach. Setting goals that you can reach means realizing that your worth is not based on what you achieve and that you shouldn't give up your health, your relationships, or your ideals to reach your goals. The Stoics believed in a rite, which means that virtue is the best thing in the world and we should try to live our lives in line with it. Setting goals that we can reach helps us live up to our rite, work toward our goals in a good, healthy, and long-lasting way, and remember that our worth comes from within, not from what we do. Setting goals that can be reached requires a number of techniques and tasks. One of these is a smart goal setting, which means making sure our goals are clear, measurable, attainable, relevant, and have a due date. Visualization is another method. In this method, we imagine and practice the world we want and then work to make it happen. This helps us make goals that are exciting and motivating, and to think more positively, take more action, and focus more on our goals. Being self-aware is a part of making goals that can be reached. This means that we know our strengths, weaknesses, values, and passions, and try to make our goals fit with them. This helps us set goals that are real and meaningful, and keeps us from giving in to other people's pressure or suggestions. Self-care means putting your physical, social, and mental health first, and taking steps to keep your life in balance and harmony. Setting goals that you can reach is an important part of self-care. That way, we can make goals that will last and stay healthy, and we won't get worn out or spent. The process of setting goals that can be reached includes self-reflection, in which we think about and rethink our goals and try to change them as our lives change. Setting goals that we can reach is a strong way to boost our self-esteem that we can learn from Stoicism. It teaches us to set high goals, but not so high that they are impossible to reach. It also teaches us to break down our big long-term goals into smaller, more manageable ones, to celebrate our successes, no matter how small they may seem, to work toward our goals in a good, balanced, and long-lasting way, and to know that our worth is natural, not earned. It's not an easy lesson, but it's one that we need to learn in order to move toward our ideal world and be happy and fulfilled along the way. Number 6. Embrace self-compassion. It was important to the Stoics to understand that we are all connected and should treat each other and ourselves with kindness, care, and respect. This idea is called oikiosis. Being kind and patient with ourselves when we mess up, fail, or run into problems is an important part of practicing self-compassion. That we are not perfect is what it's about, and that's okay. It's about letting go of the past and not letting it shape the present or the future. Being self-compassionate doesn't mean being selfish or sorry for yourself. It means realizing that we are all human, that we all have flaws and strengths, and that we all deserve love and kindness, especially from ourselves. Synthesians believed in the idea of sympatheia, which means that all living things are linked, and our acts affect other people. Self-compassion is a way to show that we care, to treat ourselves with the same love and kindness that we would show to others, and to keep the cosmic family in balance and unity. Self-compassion means realizing that our worth isn't based on what we've done, what we own, or how we look, and that we shouldn't put our health, our relationships, or our ideals on the line to protect our self-worth. The Stoics believed in ataraxia, which means that we can only be truly peaceful and happy when we live in line with our true nature and accept the things we can't change. Self-compassion helps us grow our ataraxia, which means we accept ourselves as we are and know that we are valuable even if we haven't done anything to earn it. Practicing self-compassion includes a number of different methods and activities. Self-forgiveness is one of these. This means recognizing and accepting our mistakes and failures and letting go of the guilt, shame, and sorrow that come with them. This keeps us from giving in to our bad feelings and helps us heal from our mistakes and failures. Self-care is another method. When we put our physical, social, and mental health first and take care of it, we try to keep our lives balanced and harmonious. In turn, this helps us keep our sense of self-worth and avoid getting worn out or tired. Mindfulness means being in the present moment, aware of your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and trying to align them with your true nature. This is a part of self-compassion. Because of this, we can change how we see the world and develop a happier, more upbeat, and stronger mind. As a way to show self-compassion, we can practice thanks by noticing the good things in our lives and saying thank you for them. In turn, this helps us change the way we think about our lives and become more upbeat, hopeful, and strong. Understanding and practicing self-compassion means thinking about and re-evaluating our sense of self-worth and trying to make it fit with the way our lives are changing. Stoicism teaches us a strong lesson about how to boost our self-worth. we should be kind to ourselves. We learn to be patient and kind to ourselves when we mess up, fail, or have problems. We learn to accept that we are not perfect, and that's okay. We learn to forgive ourselves and not let the past control our present or future. We learn to treat ourselves with the same love and compassion that we show to others, and we learn that our worth comes from within, not from what we do. Learning this lesson isn't fun, but it's important for keeping the cosmic family balanced and happy. It can help us develop our ataraxia, heal from our mistakes, and move on with our lives.